NBC's Ryan Nobles is reporting on Capitol Hill. NBC's Ken Delanian reporting from Washington, D.C. Also joining us, Jim Kavanaugh, retired ATF special agent in charge, former hostage negotiator for ATF, and an MSNBC contributor. So, Ken, what else are we learning from this report?
You know, Jose, it's important to say the Secret Service director has already acknowledged some of these failures, and he has said that agents will face disciplinary action. But this report paints a much more disturbing picture than he was willing to do the other day. It says that agents and officials who were interviewed pointed fingers, couldn't say who was in charge of advanced planning, and didn't acknowledge how badly they mishandled this. Big picture, the report says the Secret Service didn't communicate to local law enforcement that they needed to secure that roof that the sniper used to fire, and that the Secret Service knew it was unsecured when Trump took the stage. And then, because of a series of astonishing communications failures, the Secret Service agents protecting Trump did not learn key information about the threat as local police were discovering it. The report says the Secret Service leadership denied some assets requested by Trump's detail for the Butler rally, including a counter-surveillance team that may well have discovered the shooter before he got on that roof. And the report confirmed that local police and the Secret Service were not in radio communication. It said the Secret Service was notified, as you said, about an individual on the roof of the building 2 minutes before the shooter opened fire. But that information was not relayed to the team protecting Trump, who could have rushed him off the stage. The Secret Service had counter-drone technology that might have spotted crooks flying his drone before the rally. But the Senate investigators found that the agent in charge of that system on site really didn't know how to operate it and spent hours on the phone with tech support trying to get it to work. It's really a cascade of errors. The Secret Service acknowledging some of this and saying that they will work to fix some of it. And this is really one of several investigations. We're going to hear more about this in the coming weeks, Jose.
So, Ryan, how are lawmakers reacting to this?
Jose, the overwhelming sense that you get from these lawmakers, both Republican and Democrat, is a sense of frustration. This really wasn't a resources issue. Yes, there were some technological problems. Yes, the Secret Service advance team had asked for more support to aid them in their protection of Donald Trump. But really, at the fundamental core here, this was a breakdown in communication and human error that led to these vulnerabilities in their security posture. And it's something that these senators want to see fixed immediately. Take a listen.
So there needs to be accountability for what happened, because there were a series of failures, and all of the failures could have been prevented.
The buck definitely stops with the head of the agency, the Department of Homeland Security, Alexander Mayorkas, has to take charge, clean house, replace this leadership, and provide full disclosure.
All of these failures we found were human failures. You don't fix human failures by giving the humans more money. You fix human failures by getting new humans to do the job.
So if there's any good news that came out of this report, Jose, it's that this is not going to require a multi-billion-dollar investment to fix many of these problems that the Senate team were able to discover over the course of their investigation. It really just means policy changes. It means a simple fix like making sure local law enforcement and Secret Service are on the same radio channel when they're working together to protect either the President of the United States or one of the main candidates for President of the United States. The senators are really encouraging the Secret Service to make those changes immediately. And as you heard from these senators, if they're unwilling to do so, maybe even if they are willing to do so, there needs to be serious changes at all levels within the Secret Service. Jose.
And Jim, as we're showing pictures, these live pictures of the former president in Mint Hill, North Carolina, where he is just starting a campaign stop focused on the economy. But that is the images that we're getting live from North Carolina at this hour. Jim, and you heard what Senator Paul had to say. More money won't fix human errors. Also, what Senator Blumenthal says, the chain of command is at the core of these failures. What challenges could there be in fixing all of these problems?
Well, Jose, it's a complete structural leadership failure. When you read this preliminary report from the Senate, it's unbelievable to see that a special agent in charge, I mean, that's the title. I held that title. It's the highest field command position in the federal service. It's the senior executive service of the government. There's, for example, in the ATF, there's only 25 in the United States. The special agent in charge is the field commander. And the special agent in charge in this instance says, well, I wasn't really in charge. I was a liaison person. But the Secret Service has a structural problem here, because when they come in with their detail, the detail has a special agent in charge. The most prestigious one, of course, is they call PPD, Presidential Protection Detail, and there's a special agent in charge. And he's usually the guy you see right behind the president. They often go on to be the director because they get to know the president and they get appointed later or get an appointment as a director somewhere else. But that's the special agent in charge of the detail. Well, when they go into a city, Pittsburgh or Dallas or wherever, there's a special agent in charge there. And what Secret Service is not doing is they're not placing the commander, the on-scene commander at the site, the special agent in charge, over the Joint Operations Center. And we learned these lessons in law enforcement 40 and 50 years ago, crisis management. And we did it in ATF, we did it in the FBI. We got a structure for it. It's an on-scene command, Joint Operations Center. They need to have the person at the Joint Operations Center, which would have been on site in Butler, state police, local police, all their chiefs and commanders, the special agent in charge there is the guy in charge. And he's getting all the information and calling the shots. And he's saying, oh, move the principal off the stage. We have a person we can't locate that has a rangefinder. We got somebody on the roof, move him back. We don't have even a person doing that. We have the person supposed to be doing that saying their liaison. Now, this is a really, really terrible failure. The service has to fix this immediately. And just to close, Jose.
Yeah, no, please, go ahead.
Just to close, I drummed into my people in all these crisis things. We dealt with bombings, snipers, killers. We set up these joint operation centers with the police. And I drummed into everybody all the time. Info, flow, and go. You get information, you flow information, 360, and then you do your task. And when I read this report, I saw that failure everywhere. The sniper gets information, he doesn't flow it anywhere. He sees cops run into the roof of the barn, but he doesn't flow the information. He fails. You got to info, flow, and then you go. And that's repeatedly happening in that instance. And you got to inculcate your people with that mindset at every level. The commanders to the special agents has to know that. They have to fix their structural leadership. You have to have the special agent in charge. If you're not going to be in charge, then you don't get the title in charge. You have to do something else then.
Yeah, but and one thing, of course, are the massive series of communication failures that you talk about. But then there's the issue, and just thinking of what Ken was telling us about the fact that there was only one drone accessible to the officials there, and then this person was on the phone for tech support for hours trying to get the drone to work. I mean, this is kind of stuff. In a way, you're like, this is what we all go through on a daily basis. Anytime you want to reach tech support, you're going to be on hours. But that the Secret Service would have that problem when. It's the security of the former president of the United States.
And you're exactly right. And the biggest thing, Ken and I talked about this the other day, and here's the biggest thing that the senators left out of the report, but we should all understand. Crooks in Butler broke the aura of impenetrable security around a Secret Service protectee. He broke the aura. And that's why we got the shooter in West Palm, because he saw, oh, these guys aren't impenetrable. I can do this. I can get through this. Well, the problem is other people are seeing that too around the country, disaffected people, political terrorists, foreign nations, Iran. They're seeing this weakness. And when they see this weakness, they think they can exploit it. And that's a bad thing for the country and the service. So there's the greatest threat, I think, is coming from drone attacks. They're ubiquitous in the Ukraine war with explosives and firearms. And I know the service is trying to prepare for that, but I'm telling you, that's a great fear. But they've got to back those perimeters up and bring in all the agents and officers you need to do it. I don't care if you've got to bring in 30 Border Patrolmen to secure the golf course at Mar-a-Lago. Guess what? Trump's going to play golf there next time he's down there, so get ready. And you need to secure it because we got 4 months until the inauguration. It's a critical time for America.